Hello everyone, welcome back to Duskers. This is episode 2, and so far we have performed admirable job completing the basic tutorial where there was no threat whatsoever, and reading partially through the intro message for starting a new mission. If you did not see the first part, I would recommend you go watch it because it explains quite a few elements of gameplay that I will probably not explain again. But if you've already seen enough of this game to know, I've watched the first episode. Part 2. This ship we are at here, on the side here, you can see the class of ship that it is. It's like that shape. Yeah. Name of the ship. How many infestation types. This will come into play a lot later, but as you can see, this one has 0, which means it's safe to just open all the doors and go. How old it is in years. Its distance from our current position, because we are at this one already, that is 0. Whether we have visited it or not, this means whether we can board it again. And how much scrap it can hold compared to our own ship, which is 50. This is lower. This is because when you see a ship that's got loads of upgrade slots, which are these things here, get into the drone config, ship config modifications sections up at the top there. This will explain more. But if you encounter a ship with, say, 4 of those, then you might want to commandeer it. But you've also got to keep scrap capacity, because if the scrap capacity is lower, then you'll have less capacity for repairs, upgrades, as you go. The drone config window has our 3 drones. We've got the perfect setup right now. We've got the motion module, which means we can see adjacent rooms and their threat. The gather module, which is completely necessary at all times. You need that to progress at all times. The generator module, which isn't necessary, but is necessary to start, because it allows you to power up sections of the ship. Tow module, which is not necessary in any way, but really handy if you come across a disabled drone, because then you can take it back to your ship and either refit it or scrap it. And the interface module, which is exceptionally handy in certain ships where there is a computer terminal to interface with, because often this allows you to get scans of the ship, so you can get like a general layout, but even actual detailed scans of rooms in certain situations, which can reveal locations of scrap you can't find by a cursory look, and also tells you ahead of time whether there is drones in a room. There is also turrets in certain ships that when the room they are in has power and you turn them on with the interface, you will turn the turret on, and if there is a threat in the room, which includes your drones, then the turret will open fire. This is handy for dealing with pretty much all threats in the game. However, there is at least one infestation from when I used to play, back in the beta, that I'm fairly sure was not affected by turrets. Or guns at all, really. It was really difficult to deal with without very specific modules that we might see during this run. You can select the drones and swap out modules that are equipped into your inventory, which you can see on this one. It goes all the way from A to X. It's reasonably sized. I think that's the same with all ships, however I cannot guarantee that is the case. We are going to be leaving the modules as they are, because actually no, take that one off, put it on this one. That way we can have the motion sensor active at all times, because when you activate the motion sensor, it uses 1 charge but doesn't deactivate or use any more charges until you. Well, it doesn't deactivate until you move, and it doesn't use charges over time. It just uses the one charge when you activate it. And at the beginning, this might not seem like a lot because you've got 50. That's a whole lot, but that will run out fairly quickly. And did play around when they added module durability to the game, which is a somewhat punishing system, but it isn't Breath of the Wild weapons bad. The ship config, you can see here, it shows the name of the ship, class of the ship, picture of the ship, which is also the class. Then you've got two upgrade modules here, and our upgrade module inventory. We have no upgrade modules at all, so nothing can be done here. The modifications window is where a lot of the scrap will be spent. As you can see, we have 3 drones here. Each of them have several settings. You can repair their HP by 10 per 1 scrap, and the full health one doesn't add extra cost onto that. It just saves you pressing that button several times. Increasing the max speed will be something we will definitely be doing if we have the scrap, because it makes a huge difference when you are fleeing from certain threats. Increasing the drone's max HP is useful, but because our main exploratory drone has 110 health, I don't think we'll be doing that one to him anytime soon. And repairing the drone's video signal is something we will probably have to do, because drones will fall apart over time, basically, and some of them will gain a bit of a steering issue where they will drift a bit, from what I understand. I'm not sure if there's any way to fix that, although that might scale with damage. So if you're at full health, it might not. I may be spreading misinformation here, but I'm fairly sure I read something about this in the game's discussions from one of the dev posts back in the beta. That might have been a hypothetical maybe feat. You can also convert them into scrap, which is useful if you've got 7 drones and 3 of them you're never going to use. Until one breaks, you can scrap 2 and have the 1 spare in case you come across a couple of drones in the mission. Then there is the upgrade, where you can upgrade individual modules. I'm fairly sure ship upgrades will be on here too. Maybe they won't. Well, you can see the motion upgrade. There is the repair setting. You can see up top of this window there is the amount of missions this has been used on, and its chance of failure, which means whenever it is used, it rolls that percentage, and if it hits in that percentage range, then the module will break. As far as I'm aware, that's not permanent break, like a permanent break. In fact, it might just be it'll take a piece of damage, which will increase its failure probability significantly, and after a couple of damage points are added, it will stop working. There's also the chance it'll malfunction. Certain drones interact with this system. Certain modules interact with this system differently from others. There is also the option to spend 2 scrap to fill half of its ammo back up, and of course, that means you can get down to 25 used, and then you can spend 2 scrap, which will definitely be obtained after that amount, to get 2 more. Obviously, you can convert most things into scrap. Generator upgrade only has the damage thing. However, I'm not sure whether that would be worth it, because you can always make a generator upgrade as far as I'm aware. Same with the tow upgrade and the interface upgrade. The gather upgrade. The ship has you can break ship upgrade slots somehow. I think that is either something that's predetermined by the type of ship, or maybe like ship upgrades can take damage the same as regular modules, and then they'll eventually damage their slots. However, I'm not entirely sure on that half, because this is newer systems that were added after I sort of stopped playing. And the schematic view can take damage much like a drone's video feed. However, this is almost entirely random. We have no ship upgrades, so we cannot see that. And the create menu, you can see for 8 scrap, we can make a gather or generator module. That means we will always have the ability to collect more scrap and the ability to power up doors. And we can also get tow upgrade 10. This will mean we will always have the ability to tow disabled drone. Up in the top left over here, we can see the 3 types of views. We are currently in the system view, which shows us the current system we're in. Zooming out to the galaxy view, you can see the area we have a view on, as denoted by that blue circle. When we move to other systems, this will expand the view. However, the blue circle will remain, but it's the black around everything, all over here and on the left side and at the top here. That is like a fog of war that is removed permanently. And we have no data on the universe because we haven't found any stargates. This system was barely implemented when I played, so we'll see how that works now. In the top left, you can see the current system we are in, as denoted by the little star on, which is reasonably interesting looking, and the title of the system there, which is also visible at the top center of the screen. In the bottom left, we can see an objective screen, which at the moment just has the log from earlier. However, this will also have other random mission objectives as we interface with various systems. These are mostly superficial. They don't really do a whole lot because there's no real contact with anyone physically. So it's not like we can get rewards for this. They might have found a way to make it work. Maybe give us recipes to make things, but I'm fairly sure there isn't. But this is where most of the game's lore will be, and I'll probably go through it, add it to like a stockpile of footage that when this run inevitably ends, I'll slam all that footage together for one big lore video from what I've uncovered from playthrough. Below where the 4 ships currently are on the screen, you can see our total amount of scrap is 2, which is how much scrap we've got, out of 50, which is our scrap capacity. How much propulsion fuel we've got. When we jump into a system, we are immediately given the right number added to our left number. We are immediately filled up on that amount, and then any we find in ships is added to the plus section next to it. And the jump fuel we have, as denoted by that little number 2 there. In the top right, below the modification section, you have the icon indicating our ship, as there is over the ship. How many upgrade modules, there will be icons there if you have them. How many drones we have, as indicated by the light blue numbers. Where they are in the party, because that is effectively a party. As you can see by the blue box surrounding everything, we can see we don't have a 4th drone. So we can't take a 4th drone in. And there is also 3 slots outside of the party. And in the bottom right, which has been flashing obnoxiously for the entire time I've been speaking, is the board button. We are now going to press. This will take us to this screen where we can take a good look. It's basically the drone screen, but with also that section on the left there, which also tells us something else about the ship, that it has a good hull integrity, which means it isn't going to be falling apart anytime soon. This becomes an issue much later on, or maybe not, it's mostly random. But ships with terrible hull integrity have a tendency to break doors will stop responding. Sometimes they'll just stop responding to the ability to close doors entirely, and that has happened to me before, which is a horrible thing. You can still open them usually, but it's very bad not being able to close doors. And usually, if that happens, I will bug out and get out of there as soon as I can, unless I know the derelict is either filled with threats that are easy to deal with, or no threats at all, like I've dealt with them all. However, due to the nature of this game, it is pretty hard to tell when you've done that. As you can see, still got the layout set up for drone 1 to be our motion detector, drone 2 to be our generator, and drone 3 to gather things and, well, gather drones, information, and scrap in that order. I can't really do much else on the screen because I don't have spare drones and I don't have spare modules, so we are going to begin. As you can see, this screen, it shows some various flavour stuff about the vessel. The name of the vessel, of course, it's class Directive, which we can see this was an espionage vessel. Take from that what you will, I guess. It had a crew of 10. Obviously, I'm not here anymore. It's a derelict, and its hold was filled with classified information. Classified stuff, meaning we don't know what was in its hold. You can see, I'm fairly sure that's randomly generated, but there was 61,052 communications found in the archive, and all of them were corrupt, so we don't get any flavor text here. Sometimes you get something, but you can see here. So I'm either going to cut the episode here, or I'm not. I'm going to see how long it's been running for. 17 minutes. Now we're good. So we're going to run into the actual game. There won't be as much gap between gameplay in future episodes, but I did want to get as much of the explanation out of the way as soon as possible. I will obviously explain new modules as I get them, but it will be nowhere near as much in detail as what I just did with the rest of the game. So the first thing we're going to do is open the airlock, navigate drone 1 through airlock 1, and you can, when you use the navigate command, can dictate it to move through a door rather than into a specific room, and this will move it through that door to the room it is adjacent to. We're also going to take drone 2 through airlock 1 and use the generator command. This is the derelict I thought I was going to be inspecting during the tutorial, however it is not. Because of the nature of this derelict, I'm going to open all, which opens every door that is powered. I am then going to take nav 1. I'm going to take drone 1 back into the ship. I'm going to move drone 2 like this. You can move the drones around the generators, and sometimes they won't be disconnected from the generator, which is useful if they're standing on a piece of scrap like that one was. Then I'm going to navigate 3 to R2. Get them to do a quick cursory scan of the room, then type gather all, and move on. Moving through here. See, there is a destroyed drone. He has More upgrades? Oh, he's got a damaged motion module, which we're going to pick up and probably keep just in case. But we'll pick it up on drone 1. You can also say move one drone to another drone, which is what I did there, which moved drone 1 into this room where drone 3 was. In room number 4, I think this is? No, room number 5. There is a fuel point and 2 grab points. An interesting point about the gather module that's an eerie noise. The gather module will always prioritize fuel points over scrap. Regardless if you just type gather one thing or gather all. I really don't like that noise. Drone 3 has served its purpose. We went through every room and gathered everything, so we are going to take him back in here. We are now going to swap this one, take this module thing. I'm going to type end, which is a predetermined alias, which sends all the drones back to the airlock, room 1. As you can see, by the fact that they are both moving back to room 1. I'm going to type A1 and exit. This is the mission report screen I was referring to in the previous part. It shows how much fuel we gathered, how much scrap we collected, and our total number of missions survived in the film, of days survived. No damage was dealt to any drone, so diagnostics is no data. We gained the motion upgrade, which I'm going to put into storage immediately, from the destroyed drone. Now, as you can see, this has turned yellow. Number F, letter F down there. That means we have visited. You can see it has changed from visited false to visited true. In the modification screen, you can see we have scrap again. And it will take 11 points to repair this upgrade. And as far as I'm aware, repairing upgrades does not lower the failure probability to 0, but it might. It has been a while and I never really survived long enough to find out. For now though, I'm just going to take the module off, because it's a duplicate of a module we already have and haven't used. If we take a look at the module, you can see that it still says missions used 0, and that is because we didn't use it. It was there, but we didn't turn it on. This really means nothing long run. Well, actually no, it means a lot long run. It means if you don't use a module, that number doesn't increment, and neither does failure probability. Also, because you didn't use it, it didn't roll on the failure probability, which means that it didn't have any chance of breaking during that mission. So next we're going to move over to K. As you can see on the left there, all of these have infestation type 1. And the two closest ones are 2 days travel away. Well, 2 fuels travel away. But for now we're going to go to type K. It has 1 infestation type, and I'm fairly sure I'll know exactly what the ship layout is going to be, but we'll find out. Let's board ship number 2. As you can see, this one has a much lower scrap capacity, so there would be no reason for us to take this one. It probably also doesn't have ship upgrade module. That is one thing to note, is that you can find them when you are navigating these ships. They are physical objects that are in the area, and that is usually how you find new ones, is by gathering them from other ships. You can see the hull integrity is still good, but that is because we have got the easy starting galaxy setting ticked. The purpose of this video series not being immediately started, because I don't have to re-record all of this. Let's go. Ooh. As you can see, this one has some actual text to it. This is an emergency communication to any ship that may be receiving. We have been set adrift. All live crew members are now dead, and those survivors, including... Actually, I may have jumped the gun and saying live there. But we'll say all something crew members are now dead. Those survivors, including myself, are now isolated. Something cabin room. Ship temperature regulation has been compromised and is dropping quickly. Estimated time till expiration is less than 40 hours. Thrusters are offline, although transmitters and receivers are still functioning for communication. Tracking something. We'll keep this communication channel open for any correspondence. Please. Captain Simon Handley. As you can see, it is a bit corrupted. Can't know exactly what's going on, but you can get a good issue that something broke the ship and it's falling apart. We can see that its directive: recycle things, and its hold was filled with electronics. Let's get started. Now, one thing to always note is, as far as I'm aware, the starting room and any rooms with immediately open doors are safe when you open. That doesn't mean they're going to stay safe, but it means they will not spawn enemies in those rooms at generation. The begin alias immediately starts by moving drones 1 and 2 into the first room and activating the generator. As you can see, there is a threat in room 4. Now, I've never actually seen what this threat is, at least not in memory. I don't plan on finding out anytime soon, because we are not equipped to deal with it. As you can see, there is a generator in this room as well. Usually I don't bother with this one, because as you can see from the schematic view, we can access to the right of this room via door 3 and door 7. Close door 10, open 8, and prepare to close door 8 when that threat moves out of that room. As you can see there, the door said it was blocked. That was because whatever it was, I'm fairly sure based on the speed it was moving there, it was one automated robot, which is a type of enemy in this game. I'm sure we'll inevitably see one at some point. Maybe if I get a shield module going. Maybe a stealth module. Those are fun. Anyway. Ooh. Okay, so you could see when we turned on the power that it immediately revealed all of the powered rooms on the map. This is helpful because it shows where you have authority. So, power. I'm going to open door number 4 and move door number 3 in there. Okay. As you can see here, we have everything we actually need that have came before here already. I am going to open door 5, move drone number 3 in here. Because we have our friend Tim, the not entirely destroyed drone. Gonna see what he's got. He has an interface module, always handy to have a spare, and a lure module, which are good for at least one of the infestation types. We are going to taunt him. Now he is in the airlock, he will be taken with when we leave. I'm going to take drone number 3 back to room number 4. Also going to take 1, 2, 3. As you can see, the room on the right there, it is clear. I knew it was clear, but I was showing anyway. We are going to take drone 2 into room 1. This will power everything down. However, this will allow me to show off another feature of the game, is moving the landing craft. Using the dock command, you can tell the landing craft to dock at a separate location. Then typing command. Yes, it will take all of our drones in there. And then exit, as we have checked every room to the best of our abilities. We'll end the mission, as stated. You can see we acquired one piece of regular fuel, which is added to our reserve, which is the little bracket section with the plus. And you can see we have survived 2 days, previous 0. This is because we probably spent 2 days in transit. You can see we have no one took any damage, so diagnostics is fine. And drone Tim has been added to the fleet. He's probably damaged, and we will need to fix him up, but he's there.